guys, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about 10 Cloverfield Lane and whether if it works as a sequel to the original Cloverfield or if it could be something completely different. My name is Symbiotic Legion and I have a guest here today.
Yeah, I'm Reed Schmitz. What else do you want me to say?
Okay, so what did you think of the movie when you went and saw it?
I liked it a lot. Do you want me to just jump right into my opinion about the sequel connection thing?
Just say whatever you think.
Yeah, I don't think it's a sequel.
Okay.
I don't even think it's in the same universe.
All right, why?
Mostly like my big issue with it is if it's a sequel, then the other characters, what's John Goodman's name in it?
Oh,
Howard.
Yeah.
Howard.
Yeah.
The other characters, assuming that Howard is crazy for thinking that there could be an alien invasion or something. Like there's clearly a precedent for it because the Cloverfield monster happened before and it was taking place at the same time. There's like differences in technology in each movie. Like in 10 Cloverfield Lane they have smartphones, the previous one they didn't, and that's pretty much as far as my theories go.
Right, but there were still smartphones in 2008.
Yeah, but not like I can't remember. You see Michelle using.
Yeah, she has an iPhone, but there have been like instances in movies before that like sequels or whatever that have or same timeline eras that have difference in technology. Just because the movie was made later. One of the things that I was actually thinking about that earlier was one of the things with the original Cloverfield movie is that there was timestamps on everything.
Yeah.
There were no timestamps on anything in this movie. So you actually can't tell when this is happening.
You can see on her phone at least one point what the time is. I don't remember if you could see like a calendar app or anything.
No, I'm pretty sure that was gone. And I think that it's like that, so it gives a little bit more mystery.
It's more ambiguity, yeah.
And when things first started to connect with me when I was watching that was when the attack happened. If it was that day that she left her apartment and she was just driving in this, she was in the middle of nowhere, okay? She wasn't really listening to the radio or anything. She would have no idea that any of that happened because she was just driving completely separated from everyone. So, I mean, her boyfriend called her or whatever and she didn't even answer, but that could have been very well before the attack started.
She did answer. It
started in the middle of the night.
She did answer. Remember?
Well, yeah, she answered, but he just.
And she did turn the radio on too.
Okay, but still, I mean, that might not have reached everywhere that fast.
They were mentioning blackouts there. Where does 10 Cloverfield Lane take place?
It was somewhere in the southern states.
Can you look it up? Is there anything official about it?
It was Texas area because she drives towards Houston, so it's got to be somewhere in the.
That's
southern
right.
United
That's
States.
right. Forgot about that.
And then, the next part of the connection that I started to get was when they started talking about the attack. They didn't necessarily hear anything about the attack, but what was the other guy that lived in the bunker? What was his name?
I don't remember.
Well, he said that he saw the attack. He saw it as a flash of light, something that he couldn't explain, something he's never seen before.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion, was Hammer Down Protocol.
What was Hammer Down Protocol?
Hammer Down Protocol was the solution to Clover at the end of Cloverfield when they nuclear bombed New York because they had no other idea of how to kill it. That Hammer Down Protocol.
I don't think you would have seen that from
nuclear
Texas
bombs
to New York.
Big, okay.
Yeah, but you.
And this was a 2008 nuclear bomb, bigger than anything that we would have seen on Earth before because we haven't seen nuclear weapons detonate recently, except for something that happened after the movie came out. But still, it would have been huge. Yeah. You would have been able to see it. He just saw it as a strange flash, something you couldn't explain. Obviously, if he was closer, he would have been like, "Oh my God, that's an atomic bomb." But if you're far enough away, it's just going to be an ominous light that you're not going to be able to understand.
Yeah, but my issue with that is that if the events in the first Cloverfield were at the point where they were going to bomb the monster, then news would have reached back to them about what was going on in New York by that time. So they would have known.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm assuming that dude would have known because he was still That was the point when he decided to get to the bunker.
Yeah.
So he would have had news about what was going on.
See, and then
That was the first time he had like seen anything relating to the attack.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he had his radio on at some point after that too, so he could figure out what was going on.
Another thing too is that with the way government systems work, how much
real
would
world
you
government
think
in this?
that they would want the world to know that a giant monster came up and they just blew up New York City?
I think at a certain point it has to get out because there's a bunch of people in New York with video cameras filming it.
Right. And
like
that's
in the movie Cloverfield.
Right, that's exactly what that movie is. See,
but what I'm saying is there's people are definitely going to know.
Yeah, eventually.
Word's going to get out. It's happening now. Like, people in New York have that happening to them. They're calling their friends out of state saying, hey, something's going on. Word's going to spread.
Well, how would they be able to explain that without people just thinking they're crazy?
Which is
like the whole...
They have video.
Like the whole idea of, like, Cloverfield Lane is that just people are crazy.
I don't think that's the whole point.
It's
part of it. It's
pretty,
part of it. But regardless, word's going to get out about, like, a giant monster attacking New York, whether or not the government wants it to or not. Also, I think that's a type of catastrophe you'd probably want to address.
Yeah, well, you never know. I mean, it is J.J. Abrams, too.
Yeah,
he literally did not say anything about Cloverfield after it came out.
Yeah, but also, I mean, bear in mind that he didn't have a ton to do with, like, the writing with that movie or anything. He was a producer, which is not exactly the hands-on role people think it is.
I mean, I remember after Cloverfield came out, and then... That was like 2008, and then the summer of 2009, all of the Adli Gamma stuff started to get rolling, which was the sequel of Cloverfield, that, you know, eventually stopped production, and Super 8 happened.
Super 8 happened and threw everyone off for a couple months.
Yeah, man.
We were all very misguided in those days.
You can easily tell that there was similarities because the monster designs were...
Literally, like the same.
The same thing. Like, you couldn't even deny that. But that
absolutely no
happened.
connection to Cloverfield, though.
Right. But that happened. There was actually, like, a teaser image that came out around that time. Because I was really following it because I really liked Cloverfield.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, it was like a knocked down plane, and it was like, it like crash landed, it was sideways, and it was like smoking, and it just said Adli Gamma, because that was like the code name for the movie at the time, because they didn't want to give it an official name. People go, oh my god, and then they'd never make it. Like, okay, cool. So, that almost happened, kind of, and it's just weird to see something now, but another thing too is that there is a lot of similarities with the way the movies are structured.
Yeah.
Like, one scene that really comes to mind from the original movie that reminds me of something that happens in this movie is, in the original, when they flee underground to get away from the monster into the subway tunnel, and...
there's more danger there.
HUD keeps talking, and then his friends... I don't know. I mean, HUD was my favorite character, so I'm going to remember his name.
Is that the dude played by T.J. Miller?
Yeah, he's the cameraman. He keeps talking like... Oh, guys, you remember when the homeless man got lit on fire in the sewer or whatever, and they're telling him to shut up and not talk about anything? And then the next thing he says, he starts talking about where he thinks the monster came from, and he thinks that either it was from space, an ocean trench, or a government experiment, and it was kind of like foreshadowing the only explanation that you got at the end.
The only pseudo-explanation you got.
Which was... Well, I mean, it's the only explanation, because they wouldn't have put that in there.
It's not an explanation, but it's a hint at something that could explain what happened.
The thing falling from the sky and landing in the ocean. So now we either are narrowed down to...
It's an
alien
or a satellite.
Or the ocean trench that he came up with. And then the fact that all of the stuff from Lane are aliens, it almost makes you wonder if that monster was either... Clover was either their first attack to test, like, strength, or since all of their weapons are, you know, like, biological, like, the spaceship was literally... It reminded me a lot of Clover. It even made, like, the same roar and stuff like that. And I
Yeah,
wondered
the roar
if...
thing kind of threw me off when that appeared in one of the trailers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big similarity right there. Like, they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
They could have just made something else. But that really could be... What if one of those ships crashed?
Mm-hmm.
Because that crashing was months prior to the actual attack on New York, from, like, the timestamps on the bottom of the camera.
Yeah.
Or, like,
Yeah,
what if
yeah, it
that
was like a month
crashed
before.
and then, just got out of that ship form and then just sat down there and then maybe kind of, like, mutated into something that could actually, like, function on land again, and that was Clover? Or it was an actual attack? Because they do look very similar, like, structure-wise.
The monsters?
Yeah. With
From 10 Cloverfield Lane to Clover?
to Clover. Like, the ship, like,
The ship might be, like, reminiscent, but, like, the aliens themselves...
Yeah.
The alien looks more like Biolante than Clover.
Yeah, but Clover did have, like, the tentacle stuff that came out of his chest. Like, those tentacle arms that came out of his chest.
Yeah.
They were really small.
But the head was more like a pit, like, sunken in, remember?
Yeah, it was on the bottom.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there might have been one on the front, too.
Yeah.
But, it was so hard it's really hard to tell, because you don't really get that much.
Yeah.
And then that ground, the ground alien... It was, like, the same size as the parasite, but it was, it was definitely built. It was definitely built different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was more like a dog.
There was still, like, the similarities there. You could tell, like, okay,
Yeah.
that's supposed to be kind of like the parasite of this.
Yeah, I can't help but feel that's just there to throw people off. I mean, J.J. Abrams has this whole mystery box thing, too, where he wants you to go in not knowing what to expect, which is why I think naming it 10 Cloverfield Lane was just to throw people off. And to make them wonder what it could be. When it came out, I started like looking around online for stuff. I honestly just wanted the script. I wanted to see if the script had leaked anywhere. And the first released version of it, like the version the studio bought, was out, and it was called The Cellar.
Yeah.
And it had a way different ending. I mean, similar, but it didn't have like the whole alien attack thing.
What was the ending on that?
The ending on that was I think it had a shorter alien attack, like not the huge climax that this one had.
Right.
And then she drives to Chicago, and she like comes over this hill, and she sees that Chicago is in ruins. So Howard was right. Yeah, I think it didn't have the alien attack at all. I think that was the ending, and that was like the big twist. And I think once Bad Robot and J.J. Abrams got a hold of it, they were like, hey, we should like try to tie this into Cloverfield a little bit, and they just kind of added that in.
See, well, that's the thing. It could be that. It could be. Like, there's nothing saying that it's not, and there's nothing saying that it is. It's
just whatever the fuck you think it is.
It's very mysterious. Like,
Yeah.
It could work as that universe.
Yeah.
Like, if they make, some kind of third installment in this anthology or whatever they want it to be, they could easily make something to tie it up.
Yeah.
With her, if they want to use that main character, which they probably won't, because there's probably going to be new people every time.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, I like the anthology theory where it's just science fiction stories that are, like, share elements and themes, but don't actually tell a cohesive story. I like that idea.
I would like that idea,
that sounds fun.
But I want it to be in, like, the same universe.
Yeah, I understand. Like,
I don't
think
like,
it goes one way or the other. I just think it's fun to speculate on it, to be honest. But
just,
if I had to throw my money behind anything, I'm putting it behind it's not connected.
I still think that they could and might connect it. I honestly think that that's the feeling, like, first impressions when I was watching it.
Yeah.
It felt so much like when I went and saw the original Cloverfield in theaters.
You saw the original in theaters?
I did. I went and saw Cloverfield in theaters.
That's cool.
And I also saw the original trailer for Cloverfield when it first popped up in theaters, when there was zero explanation and not even a title from the movie.
Oh, really?
It was only...
Oh, yeah, you would have seen that with Transformers and everything. That's cool.
It was only on the attack on the apartment with the building exploding, and then it ended. And I said, I'm going to watch that movie, and I'm going to like it.
Yeah, well, you weren't wrong.
Yeah. So, it felt so similar. And even the thing, I almost started laughing at the end when the monster starts to pick up the car that she's in and starts pulling it towards the mouth. The way that scene is filmed and that whole situation reminds me of when HUD is starting to get eaten by Cloverfield
Yep.
at the end.
I thought of that too.
And then when the monster drops her because she lights it on fire or whatever, that scene
It's the
reminds
camera
me
dropping.
of exactly that, or the helicopter crashing scene from the original Cloverfield.
Yep.
That made me reminded me so much of the original movie. I was like, they're doing something with this. It has to be some way affiliated, because they wouldn't do that. Like, why are they so connected?
Honestly, I just think they were trying to get interest in a smaller sci-fi movie that probably wouldn't have gotten the attention otherwise. So they stamp the name on there. That's the cynical take on it. But I still don't really buy the sequel thing.
Maybe not like a sequel, but
It's connected, I
same
guess.
same event situation is plausible.
Like what do you mean same event?
Like
Or similar event.
if that attack that they went and hid from was the Hammer Down Protocol from the original movie, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned earlier that maybe the Cloverfield monster was like the precursor to the aliens in this, like they were testing.
Yeah.
Sort of like the Pacific Rim thing where
Yeah.
But like my issue with that is that, like, okay, so you're saying that this happened in 2008 then, and then there was this gap period, and then 10 Cloverfield Lane was when they meant business.
Well, no,
And
I'm saying that
swooped in.
I'm saying that the original attack and this are happening within the same period, few period of days. That's why
A period of a few days.
That's why they made it so clear that they didn't. That's why they didn't put time stamping all over this movie like the original one had, like literally everywhere. They even say the date multiple times in that movie.
Yeah, my issue with that is still then there would have been a precedent for the kind of attack Howard is talking about, and even if the other two didn't know about it, Howard definitely would. So he could have brought that up at any time.
Yeah.
But he never did.
Yeah, there's still there could have always been, downed communications or whatever. Like, what real world effects would actually happen if a giant monster attacked a city? Like, what would an actual government response be? Would they actually want to tell everyone, like, hey, this is actually happening right now? Or would they tell everyone, because that's a lot of panic that they would have to deal with.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of panic once they bomb a city too.
I can see an explanation of after they deal with it, like, okay, this actually happened, it's done, don't freak out too bad about this, kind of, they don't want to be dealing with that happening currently, plus literally every other city on that seaboard freaking out that could be happening to them, and people mass fleeing into the inner country. Like, you don't want that. That is not what you want to happen. So I can see them telling people after it's done with, but by then it would have already been too late, because if that flash of light was the Hammer Down Protocol and then this invasion happened from the rest of the Force, if they are connected, then it would have just been like, okay, this happened. We're screwed.
Yeah.
Deal with it. Like...
But there's still the issue of, at the end, they seem to be setting up some sort of army to take on the aliens, too. I don't remember.
They're amassing anyone who can fight and heal to defend Houston.
some sort of militia.
Yeah.
To fight them off. I don't know if that was government sanctioned, but whatever.
Just people rallying.
Yeah.
I mean, why Houston?
Because it's close. It's a big city and it's close.
It's inland too. It's very far inland. Clover might not have made it that far.
Yeah, but the other aliens have. I mean, they fought them out of the city, but at the end you see that they're still there.
Yeah. One thing you don't want to do is drop your ultimate weapon directly from orbit into a continent. So putting it in the sea outside of New York would be probably the smartest idea.
Okay, wasn't it established in I can't remember what it was called. They had that alternate reality game around the time Cloverfield came out that gave some backstory and explanation what was going on. Wasn't it that they were testing something underwater, and then the Cloverfield monster was actually a baby and it had been woken up and it was frightened and above ground? And it was going nuts.
I don't remember that 100%.
I read something to that effect recently. I might have gotten details wrong, but there was something to that effect.
Right, and then the thing I read earlier was that just confused the hell out of me because none of the information presented in that argument had anything to do with actual information present in the original Cloverfield movie. They said that the company that Rob, I remember his name now, the main character, who's moving to Japan for, is some drink company.
Slusho.
No.
Not Slusho?
No, not Slusho.
Oh, okay.
And that his company was using some kind of hazardous material.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
And that they were getting it. What they were doing was they were getting it from the sea floor. It's called sea nectar or something, which is completely hazardous to humans. And that was the area that Clover was sleeping. And they just so happened to wake it up or discover it at that time. Okay. How long have you been getting this material from this exact spot before you go, holy shit, there is a giant monster laying there?
Wasn't it?
You would have seen that.
I read somewhere Matt Reeves, who, directed Cloverfield, said that, it had been on the Earth longer than people had, I think. So I don't know, it could have just been growing out of it.
See, there's so many different people that have, that worked on Cloverfield that have their explanation for it that I don't believe that, and I still don't believe, because
I don't think there's
no one ever came to a conclusion.
I don't think there's any explanation.
Yeah, there was no information prior or after the movie. Once it was done,
yeah.
And that was it.
It's just open to interpretation.
There was nothing until Aglidama, and then that got canceled, and then the trail went cold until
10 Cloverfield Lane,
this got
which doesn't really appear to have any official connection other than similar creature designs and
events
a similar structure. Yeah,
events that could be easily tied together.
Yeah. Oh, there's also one thing I noticed was the first shot of 10 Cloverfield Lane is Michelle looking out her window out to a city skyline. You can see the ocean. It kind of mirrored.
That's the same just as the beginning of Cloverfield.
I don't know. I wasn't thinking the beginning, but the end of Cloverfield, where you see the thing drop into the ocean. That's what it reminded me of. It was linking the two together.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I think that could still play into an anthology thing.
Yeah.
Because you could really easily make another sci-fi movie that starts with a character driving to a new city at night in a thunderstorm.
Just there's so many things that you could connect, but there was no clear connection.
No, there's not. I don't think they made it. I think they made it that way intentionally. They didn't actually want any clear explanation or connection.
Right. And in my opinion, they're probably never going to do anything with that story the same with Clover. No other explanations after the movie hits theaters. They're not going to say a single thing about it, just like the original Cloverfield.
I don't expect them to.
Leaving it completely up to this. And the one thing I did make sure I stayed for after credits on this one, because I didn't do that with the original one, because my entire family got completely motion sick from that movie and wanted to leave.
Yeah, that's
fair.
But
there was the audio track at the end of Cloverfield.
What was the audio track at the end? I don't remember.
It was distorted words, and when played backwards, it was clearly saying, it just says, "It's still alive." Oh no, when you listen to it normal, it says "help us," and then when you play it backwards, it says "it's still alive." Which kind of gives you the whole thing that they wanted to continue with Agligama or whatever. And then now that could tie together slightly. And I mean, HUD did say it could be from space in the beginning in Cloverfield. I mean, come on. HUD's the man. He knew what was going on, and he didn't even want to know.
HUD was a smart man.
He just wanted to document the night.
He's gone too soon.
Poor HUD. He should have been the one airlifted out.
Truly.
Not that one girl.
No. But,
he should have lived to tell the tale.
Well, in a way he did. He lived on through his footage.
Yeah.
What a brave soul. I totally forgot.
At those camps, like the Houston camp or whatever, that would be perfect to show people.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we're up against. We have this.
Yeah. I don't know where to go
It's
from that.
so bizarre.
Presumably they've seen what they're up against. If, assuming they're not connected to Cloverfield, because, well, yeah, there's the Cloverfield monster attack going on in this version, if the two are connected. But there's also the weird Sarlacc pit-looking aliens and weird spaceships poisoning the air.
What did the parasites do to people? They poisoned them.
I was gonna say
They
blew
used
them up.
poison.
They blew their faces up.
Yeah, by poisoning them.
Yeah, but those were straight to kill. These people seem to just get infected and have a nasty rash, like shingles. 10 Cloverfield Lane monster just give you shingles.
Yeah, that girl who bashed her face and did not seem like she was doing too good.
Yeah, that was. I thought they were trying to insinuate something about like what happens when you do get infected. Like obviously it makes you sick, but it also like gives you endurance or something.
Yeah.
When she's bashing her head in, I was like, I can't see myself doing that under any scenario. But she's doing it like no problem.
At that point, when like the whole thing that God, what was his name?
Howard.
Yeah, Howard was just saying that it's probably Fallout. Like the giant emphasis on Fallout really made sense with the hammer down protocol of nuking New York.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have, some pretty nasty fallout from that.
Yeah.
Like, and that was like the stressing thing. And then, when it wasn't actually fallout, it was the poison that they were hitting people with. Crop dusting people.
How long did the events of Cloverfield last?
Yeah,
It went from like
1 day.
It went from like presumably before midnight on one day, and then into the like after sunrise the next.
Yeah, super early.
Yeah,
super early.
So it would have. I'm trying to rectify the timelines here because I'm thinking news would have gotten out somehow by then. I would imagine.
Maybe.
I mean, because anyway, news agencies don't have to get permission to report on things from the government, so they could definitely get footage and then send that out.
But news stations could easily get shut down.
By who? Or what?
The government.
They can't do that.
They can't shut down.
No, that's against the First Amendment.
In case of national emergency, they can't protect information like that?
No, that's against... we have the First Amendment in place for that.
The amendments don't count because the government can do whatever they want.
No, that's why we have the amendments, Pierce. The amendments are there for exactly that reason.
It's the government.
No, it's the amendments.
Yeah, which is the government created.
Yeah. To keep, oh my gosh, we're not turning this fucking sci-fi debate into a political debate.
Okay.
Highly uninformed on both sides.
Okay.
Debate.
Say what if they did shut that down? What if they did prevent information from getting out?
Well, clearly there's. Assuming the militia at the end of 10 Cloverfield Lane isn't government sanctioned, then clearly they've got radios to distribute the information on. Also, the internet was a thing in 2008.
Remember Howard's radio?
Yeah, he wasn't getting anything.
He made the point that there was no transmissions at all.
Yeah, but then at the end there is transmissions going through on other channels. Remember? I'm pretty sure just because they were below ground and he wasn't getting a signal.
How much time do you think passed when they were in the bunker?
I genuinely couldn't tell you.
Exactly. See, there's another factor right there. Is because we don't know how much time passed.
Yeah, but that shouldn't matter because like in between Cloverfield, the initial attack, and then in your theory that the flash of light was the bomb going off, that's like 12 hours or less probably less, right? So there's still a time for information to spread, but before he what's his face, beard guy, former track dude, started going to the bunker.
Yeah.
It would have been about like 10 hours.
Right.
So news could have gotten out to him.
One of the things though was that he didn't hear about the attack. He saw it, and that's why he went to the bunker. Like,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
There was still no word spread of anything. Like not even the fact that whatever city that was, just went up.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I don't think they're connected because you would think that news would have spread for that. I mean, they obviously had
either
radios.
Way, for any situation, whether if it was the actual hammer down protocol or whatever that city was that got blown up at the beginning of 10 Cloverfield Lane that made them flee.
The city didn't get blown up, did it? I thought that assuming they weren't connected, I assumed they were like breaking through the atmosphere and there was a flash of light.
If they were breaking through the atmosphere and there was a flash of light, then they really need to rethink their ship design or their incoming speed. But
I don't know. I don't science, but I don't think the city blew up or anything.
That
wasn't how I interpreted it.
I'm gonna say that them entering the atmosphere would not be that because that would be them burning to death, and if a Molotov can kill an
It could
entire
just,
spaceship...
It could just be their spaceship, like... The Molotov thing was bullshit. Let's bring
really
that up.
was.
That was stupid.
See, if that's gonna kill an entire spaceship, then there's no way that they entered atmosphere and lit up, because they would have died
Alright,
instantly.
I don't have an explanation for the flash of light, but I do disagree that you could see a flash of light in like a nuke going off in New York, in Texas, or in the southern states. That's I don't buy that. I'm sorry.
Well, how far can you see a nuke?
Oh my God, Pierce. Dead air. I don't like this. I do not enjoy this dead air here. If I ever see a mushroom cloud in this... Yeah, go to Reddit.
Yeah, that's probably the best place.
Reddit has informed individuals that will tell us secrets. Yeah, I'd assume you could only see it from
these are
several miles away.
They're so bright that you go blind looking at them.
Yeah, if you're there.
That's brighter than the sun.
Uh-huh.
Think about
if
how
you're
far
there,
away the sun is.
If you're there. I know how far away the sun is, Pierce.
And see, he said it was like a glow that you couldn't explain. It could have easily been like the residual light on like the clouds or the atmosphere, or just the light being dispersed into the air. Like that's gonna be visible. If they're brighter than the sun, and you could look at the sun and not go blind, and that's an AU away.
Wait, here's another thing we're overlooking. Is what's the time zone difference here?
Texas would still be dark in the morning of New York.
But what time would it be in Texas? Because we do know about what time it was when she got hit.
About 3 or 4 hours behind.
Yeah, so the times don't match up anyway. Because it was like 6:30-ish when she got hit. 6:30 p.m. Because we saw her phone. Remember?
So it was pitch black at 6:30 p.m.
It was like that a couple months ago, dude.
That's because it was winter.
Could have been winter in Texas.
It was obviously not winter.
How was it not winter?
Their crops were growing green.
Okay. The point is, it can still be dark at 6:30. We saw the phone and the radio.
Well, are you 110% sure that it's at 6:30?
Yeah, because I remember saying to myself, when I talk to Pierce about this inevitably, I'm gonna remember 6:30.
Oh. Okay.
I did actually do that. But yeah. So there, I'm poking holes in your argument, man.
I'm still like...
This ship is sinking.
It still makes perfect sense.
This ship is going down.
It doesn't. It's not.
It's you treading water, man.
This ship is about as resistant as Clover's skin to a nuclear bomb. How the hell did he survive a nuclear bomb?
That's a weird metaphor, man.
It is.
Why are you bastards spending time playing tape backwards? You should be paying attention to people who want help.
Yeah.
Quit going after conspiracies. People are dying. Okay, if we
This reminds me so much of the original Cloverfield, because you just can't with anything.
You can't explain anything.
Yeah, it easily could be and easily could not be. Just from so many different things. So much different information.
Yeah. I'm still going to hold that it's not, and that this is just the second movie in an anthology series.
I'm going to hold that it is probably still connected.
If the government used the same, used the Cloverfield's, I can't think of what it is. Code name. Cloverfield as a code name, and then everything else in 10 Cloverfield Lane having to take place on Cloverfield Lane. That's serendipity right there, my friend.
The reason Cloverfield was called Cloverfield was because they named the monster Clover.
I know.
And then they ended it in Cloverfield. So there would be no reason to use the name Cloverfield as, the standing point of Cloverfield Lane if the thing that is named Clover is not part of it. It's like Godzilla 2014. It's like make a Godzilla movie with no Godzilla in it.
I feel like I feel like in a couple of years we're gonna get another mysterious trailer with Cloverfield in the title. People will be like, "Oh, is it connected?" And it'll just be another sort of similar sci-fi alien
totally
movie,
could be.
monster movie, and it'll have like Cloverfield will be the name of the apartment complex where the people live. It'll just have Cloverfield. Something will be named Cloverfield in every single one. And in this case, it was, or in the first case, it was the government code name for the incident. In this one, it was the name of the street the dude lived on. In the next one, it's apartment complex.
What if in the next one it's a future movie?
It's a future movie?
Yeah. That could have happened after all of these events. With no explanation, with minor hints.
Oh.
That may or may not be connected.
I assume after... Okay, so the first Cloverfield wasn't an apocalypse. I think we can call the second one an apocalypse.
Yeah, the first one's like the first step towards, like...
Yeah.
That's why it was my whole testing theory, was
yeah.
You don't just attack someone without knowing how much of a resistance they can put up.
Where I'm going with this is if the second one doesn't refer to the events of the past two movies in any way, I'm just gonna assume that none of them are connected, because that's two really big events in world history took place within the span of several hours. And you'd think that would be a big deal if we're also going to get another monster movie set in the future. Monster, alien, whatever movie.
Who knows how long it's going to be before we get another one, too. It could be another 8 years.
I was going to say, how long is this?
8.
It's 8 fucking years,
8
man.
years.
8 years. Hey, we're doing better than Indiana Jones.
Why would they revive a title from 8 years ago? That's not relevant to people anymore, except for, people like me.
I don't know. Star Wars. 10 years.
That is completely different.
Indiana Jones was 19 years, and it's going to be 11 years.
Completely different. Those are highly regarded franchises that people actually like.
Mad Max.
Still, that's more popular than Cloverfield.
I'm just trying to think of examples now.
What kind of a rating did Cloverfield even get?
It was PG-13, I want to say.
Well, no, I mean, from critics and stuff. Yeah,
the first Cloverfield did well. It wasn't, poorly regarded at all. At worst, it got, mixed opinions, but I think the overall view was, good.
How much do you think it made?
Oh, it made its money back.
$170.8 million with a $25 million budget.
Yeah, that's more than making your money back, man.
Okay.
That's really good.
7.1 IMDb, 77% of Rotten Tomatoes.
I wouldn't trust IMDb at all.
That's still a 70%, which are what these two are floating around.
Yeah. Yeah, it did well. Was it Captain? Oh, I didn't know she was in there. Damn, everyone was in that movie. Yeah, Dead Air. I hate Dead Air.
2008.
I'm sorry, Pierce is getting lost in the Google search. This is a highly professional YouTube video.
The movie took place on September 22nd. I remember the date for the original Cloverfield.
We could look it up right there, so we can make sure we're getting our facts straight this time, rather than just I remember Wikipedia right there. You can go to the plot summary.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, go down. May 22nd.
May 22nd. Okay, so summer. So that makes sense because the fields were still green.
It doesn't make sense why it was dark that early at night.
No, that right there is just bad planning. I don't think they probably didn't think about that till after. Wait, why is it dark at 6?
Or maybe they're not connected, and they didn't have to think about it.
What if her phone is wrong?
I doubt that. She seems very meticulous.
It's the owner of a smartphone.
Did you see that breakout? She was pretty meticulous. This has absolutely nothing to do with the discussion about the connection between the movies, but how bad Howard was just bad at planning, putting the air filtration system in a place that he won't be able to reach, which is also conveniently a place someone could escape. It's bad planning on his part.
Why did he make it above ground?
Why did he?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It was in the shed above ground.
No, there was the staircase leading up to the shed, remember? It wasn't contained within a shed.
Yeah. Why
It
don't you
was
just make
underground.
like a little tunnel that goes to it?
Expensive. Beard. What was Beardy's name?
Beardman?
Yeah. Now that we're getting our facts straight 40 minutes into this motherfucker.
Yeah, we should probably do that.
Wait, no, just go back to the Wikipedia page.
For this?
Yeah, because it links to 10 Cloverfield right there. No, right there, up top. Second paragraph. Second paragraph. Second paragraph. Yes!
There it is.
You nailed it.
Yeah, yeah, boy. Okay.
Down.
Okay,
Emmett.
Emmett, yeah.
Yeah, maybe he charges a lot.
Budget was $10 million less for this movie.
Well, they didn't have the, they did have effects, what am I thinking?
Yeah, they had more.
They did.
No,
No, they wouldn't have had more. They had like 10 minutes of effects.
they had better quality effects.
Well, that's just because it was made 8 years later.
I mean, they had to CGI Howard's skin falling off.
That might not have been CGI, though. They could have done that practically
He
pretty
was
easily.
steaming. I mean,
That could still be done practically. Anyway.
there was just so much stuff happening in this movie that...
Yeah. I like to think of it separate from the other ones, though. I think it's better on its own.
I think that it'd be great as a connection.
Yeah, but I don't think it's necessary.
I think that they would need that to do the title justice.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
I mean, I still think it's just a linking word for an anthology franchise series.
Even with, like, the advertisements where they used the same font as
Mhm.
the original title, like, and they just put for a lot of the advertisements, they just put Cloverfield up.
No,
And
they
then-
put Cloverfield
and
first, and then 10.
And then a little bit
Lane.
later, they put 10 Lane. But
I
it
think that's
wasn't-
just to draw interest,
Yeah, it
honestly.
wasn't the font that they used for the poster in this movie. It was the font that they used for the original Cloverfield, which you see Cloverfield just pop up on your screen. You want that to be Cloverfield. So many people, besides myself, wanted a Cloverfield 2. Like, there was this mass following. That's why all this information, like, whenever anything from Clover 2 came out, it was everywhere.
Yeah, but that's marketing. That's just good marketing because it's drawing people like you into it. The other thing that made me think it's not intended to be connected at all is I can't remember if I heard this from J.J. Abrams himself or the director or one of the writers in the movie, but apparently J.J. came up with the title when he was coming to the end of production on Star Wars or promoting it, and he said, "Hey, why don't we call it 10 Cloverfield Lane?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's got some similarities." It's his whole mystery box thing, I think. He wants you to go in not knowing what to expect. Which works because I don't think you're really getting anything connected to Cloverfield, but you go in expecting some sort of otherworldly monster, and that's what you get. So I think it was sort of successful, but also wildly unsuccessful.
If that's the thing, I'm gonna say wildly unsuccessful, and they might as well kill it right now because there's no point going on.
Yeah, there is, because now there's like a precedent for it being an anthology series. Which I think, from the people that I've seen talking about it on the internet, that seems to be the general consensus, which is that it's not connected.
They should have went with a different naming scheme then,
Yeah, maybe.
because if Cloverfield is named Cloverfield because the monster that they created for the movie is Clover, then do not dare put that in the titles of your other movies. That is just stupid.
I don't know,
That
because
is dumb.
I'm pretty certain they did it because they knew it would draw interest to a movie that probably wouldn't have done as well otherwise. Because I can see, like, people going to see a Cloverfield movie. Because even if they aren't as into it as you are, they'll be like, "Oh, I remember that movie. That was pretty good. I wonder what this is then." Like, even I was talking to some friends who like don't really go to the movies, and they wanted to see this just so they could find out if it was a monster or not. But it's drawn interest to a smaller budget, like a mid-budget movie that is Super 8. Yeah, but okay. Keep in mind, Super 8.
That worked, and it didn't have any connection.
But I don't think it did as well. Go to the budget on the Wikipedia page or something. Right there. Right
Yeah.
there. Down.
50 million made 260. That's more than what Cloverfield
More
made.
than Cloverfield? Yeah, okay.
By a lot.
But it also wasn't as well received as either of these movies. This was a bigger budgeted movie to begin with, wasn't it? What was the 10 Cloverfield budget? That was 10 million?
was 25.
I thought it was 10.
And then Cloverfield was...
Was
Or was Cloverfield 25? And
I want to say Cloverfield was 25.
Cloverfield's 25.
25, so the other one was 10. I lost my train of thought. I think they put Cloverfield in the title to throw to throw audiences off balance. They would go in not quite sure what to expect.
They could have done that for Super 8 then too.
I don't think they intended there to be a Cloverfield connection there. I think people just pushed it on there when they saw it was a monster movie. That was my first instinct, but I don't think that was intentional. Because there's no connection other than the designs being similar.
Yeah,
which is just shitty character design.
Why did they do that?
That's just shit. All fucking J.J. Abrams monsters look basically the same. Come on.
Oh my god.
Like, you can't distinguish any of them. Anyway, even the new ones are kind of boring in 10 Cloverfield Lane. But anyway,
because it was the big monster and little parasite kind of theme again.
Yeah, like those things may reoccur, but I don't think they're connected. I'm pretty certain they were just trying to get a smaller budgeted movie that wouldn't be seen otherwise seen. Like they could get it into bigger movie theaters and more movie theaters just by having that connection and having that interest. Which is it misleading an audience? Maybe. But is it necessarily a bad thing? I'm not sure.
I think it's very unwise.
It made money, so it'll probably continue to happen. This is just I think we'll see a lot more anthology movies after this. Or anthology series.
As long as they're more clear that they're not connected per se, because this, if they're not connected, that's dumb.
I don't know. Man, I was talking to someone else who was saying it was dumb the other day. Because they were really convinced it was a sequel or like a midquel or whatever you want to call it as well. And then I had this talk with them basically. And they were like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Because on one level, if it isn't and you're building up, like the alien thing just kind of rips the rug out from underneath everything else that came before. And if it is, like, supposed to be connected to Cloverfield, then why the fuck are we spending so much time in a cellar with everyone? If it's in the title. Then we're expecting there will be a Cloverfield monster, and then we're just spending a bunch of time with John Goodman being weird.
Even the whole trailer, like, setup with the catchphrase, something is coming, and then the original catchphrase for Cloverfield is, something has found us. And then reusing the roar, and then putting that in the trailer too.
I want to know if the roar in the movie was the same. Do you know? Was it the same as the Cloverfield monster?
Being someone who's watched Cloverfield like 25 plus times, it's not 100% the same.
But it's similar?
Imagine the differences in Godzilla roars throughout the year.
Okay.
That's like the same effect. It is the same thing.
It's the same but different.
I mean, they made that sound 8 years ago. They're going to make some tweaks to it now, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just cut and paste. But it is the same relative sound with the same relative, like, creature structure design that could easily be relatable if they related them.
I don't think... You mean the big alien?
The big one.
I didn't see any real similarities to the Cloverfield monster other than big and has sort of tentacle thingies.
The color, the skin design, the muscle structure, all the things that I was looking at to see, okay, is this actually like going to be something similar? Like what you see from when she's in the car when it's not zooming directly on the mouth. That is the only vibe you get. It's like the same vibe.
That's not what I got.
Like.
I was just like, man, is that an organic spaceship?
Yeah.
Which would have been cool.
Basically.
No, I still disagree. I don't think they're connected.
The spaceship design was bad in my opinion. It reminded me.
I liked it.
It reminded me of
cool.
if you put Clover inside of one of the biological spaceships from the Avengers.
Oh, those. I was. You mean like the whale things?
The big whale things.
It didn't remind me of that. It reminded me of whatever the rebel version of a Star Destroyer in Star Wars is. Remember those? I can't think of what they're called. But you see him at the end of Empire Strikes Back and in Return of the Jedi. That's what it reminded me of. I like the way it looked. And I like the last shot where there's the lightning silhouetting them. That was really cool.
The really big one in the lightning silhouetted one that was the size of Houston.
Yeah, there was that one, then there was like two more.
Smaller ones.
Yeah. I really like that.
And okay. If you have a spaceship that big, could you fit Clover on that? Yeah.
I think that's a pretty slim justification because could you fit Clover on a Star Destroyer?
Well, if they're connected, they had to get him there somehow. I'm sure that he didn't breathe in space very good. He obviously had lungs.
He's lungs that could filter shit. I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions here.
Yeah, in both movies. That's why I'm enjoying them.
Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying them, but I don't think they're connected.
I still think
I enjoy them separately. If you enjoy them connected, that's fine. But I'm going to view them as separate movies.
Okay, I guess this is the conclusion we're going to come to.
Wait, I have a question. Which do you prefer?
What do I prefer?
Which movie do you prefer?
Cloverfield.
Oh, I like the second one more.
The second one
stuck with me more.
The first one is way better done. Way more interesting.
That's fair. I just like 10 Cloverfield because it was like the best straight up thriller I've seen in a long time. Where I was jumping at things that weren't even there. That was cool. I like that movie. Except for the really overbearing soundtrack.
Well. The original one in theaters had the same effect.
Yeah. But from an entirely different perspective. Where you knew what was coming to some degree or another. You didn't know what it looked like. You knew it was a monster though. In this one you're like, well, is he or isn't he?
One of the things that this just now came back to me. One of the things that happened after Cloverfield actually came out was the multiple monsters theory.
I remember that.
Yeah,
where
there was so many strange things animated into the movie that didn't make any sense at all if it was all one monster.
Yeah.
There was the smaller one that was on the bridge. Do you remember that clip? I'm probably gonna.
The one that lifts it up or something.
It's right before the bridge gets smashed. You can start to see people. Before the tail even comes out of the water, people start to run back towards the other side of the bridge, and you can see this monster, this thing, pop up out of the middle of the bridge, and you can see its head come up and its two arms come up, and then people start to run away, and then the tail smashes that part of the bridge.
Yeah.
That still doesn't make sense, and if you have that being another portion of another species that's there, that's kind of another thing that you could almost put in there, how could you have 3 different species of unknown animal or creature pop up all at the exact same minute inside one city in one event if it was not...
If it was a coordinated attack, you could do it.
Okay, come on. That's not that ridiculous from what we just saw in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
See, I don't think there's any explanation. I think they're just meant to be thriller movies, and you're supposed to be trying to connect the pieces, but there's no one right answer. I think that's pretty cool. I like that about these movies. There's no one right answer.
It's rough. It's a rough experience.
It's a rough life. It's rough to be a Cloverfield fan.
It really is. It's a really shitty time right now. It's good.
It's not a good time because now you've got another movie to discuss.
It's good that we have something, but it's shit that you can't.
You can't connect it.
You can't do anything. You can't even think.
That's what I like about this kind of stuff, is that there's just room to talk about it.
Oh my god.
There's theories, and that's fun. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the theories.
So...
That's fun for me.
Alright. Conclusion is that it's not connected, but it's also connected at the same time. You could go either way. You could
go either way.
Either side of this.
There's no one right answer.
And the way, if we're gonna compare this to the way that the first one went out, we're never gonna get any other information besides a canceled third movie. Until 8 years from now. Are you ready? 8 years from now? Are you ready for Cloverfield?
I'm ready.
Something? Cloverfield 3. Okay, here we go again.
Imagine all the shit we're gonna get in 8 years, though. We're gonna get 2 new Star Wars, we're gonna get a shit ton of Marvel movies, we're gonna get a shit ton of DC movies, and we're gonna get another elderly Indiana Jones movie, and then we get Cloverfield. It's what's gonna get us through all this, man. So much is gonna change.
I wonder if he wanted to revamp the series because we're getting G16 this year.
I don't think so, because there's like no official kaiju connection. Like you can, like we said, you can make an argument for it, but there's nothing official. Like maybe.
I remember one thing.
I guess that could be like a reason he gave the title that, if the story about him getting the title during Star Wars is cool.
I remember one thing from after the first one came out. It was like a special feature or something where JJ said, "Yeah, Godzilla's cool, but Cloverfield is better." Like he made a direct call out to Godzilla with Cloverfield, and I'm just thinking, okay, I'm sorry, Clover is a cool monster. Could he take Godzilla?
Godzilla's the king.
No,
he's the king of the monsters.
Can't. I'm sorry.
But by that logic, he could have also put this movie out 2 years ago for the American.
14?
Yeah,
That's true, but what if he wanted to? What if he just wanted to wait until Toho
Are,
made their move?
are you insinuating that he has a grudge against Hideaki Anno?
Maybe. Why not?
Oh my god, this is gone too. You need a break from this shit,
I
man.
don't need a break. I need more.
You need to focus on your schoolwork.
All right,
You need a
final
break.
conclusion. There is no explanation. It can go either way.
Whatever.
Until we get some kind of future something. Please, God, give us something. Say yes or no.
Until we get an official explanation, whatever makes you happy is the truth.
Yeah, but are we gonna get an official explanation? No, 'cause
Who
we
the
never got
fuck
one.
knows?
We never got one for Cloverfield, so
Whatever makes you happy, then.
thanks for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this thing.